Hello, hello. Welcome to episode 7 of the Between Two Tales podcast. My name is Kevin. I'm joined by my co-host Dave. We're up to 7 episodes now, 7 weeks,
That's right,
7 different crazy stories to be created. So if you're new here, thank you to all the new subscribers that have been joining and watching our content recently. If you're new here, Dave, why don't you give the new people and tell them what we're about.
Yes. So for all those who don't know, the format of what we're going to do is we're going to generate 5 random words, and you'll be able to see them. Kevin will put it on the screen, and we're going to create a story from those 5 random generated words. As soon as Kevin hits generate words, I'm going to click the timer. An hour and a half is our time limit. And we're going to come up with a full story in that time using those words. Now, Kevin, I know there's another part of this that you do on your side. So at the very end, as we're done with the title, what are we up against for our story?
We are pitting ourselves against our AI overlords. So before Skynet takes over and destroys us all, we're fighting against it in a storytelling battle. Mana y mana. Okay, 1v1. We're going to come up with our story. It's going to take us the 90 minutes, and then we're going to give our same prompt and theme to an AI tool called ChatGPT, and it's going to generate a story probably in 2 minutes. And we're going to compare the two stories. And so far, 6 episodes in, I'd say the score is 6-0. I have confidence that it's going to be 7-0 today, and who knows? Maybe in the future, on episode 100, when this AI robot is more defined, it might start taking, putting up some scores on the scoreboard. But until then, probably not. But it's always interesting to see, because it does come up with some interesting stuff. Okay, so let me share my screen, and then we could get this rolling.
All right, and I got the timer up. All right, I'm ready to hit start whenever we begin.
All right. 1 spin. Everyone knows the rules. Chance. Example. Thirsty. Swarm.
Okay.
And departure. Interesting. Interesting.
Well,
okay.
I'll say just spitballing from chance, example, thirsty, swarm, departure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it might just be because of today it was in the news, but the whole shutdown of the airspace since 9/11 happened early this morning. And so when I'm thinking of departure, right, I'm thinking of an airplane or an airport.
Yep.
However, you can really just depart from anything. It's just a leaving, right?
Yeah, leaving from one place to another. Yeah,
anything where someone's leaving, right? So that's that. Let's see if we can. Swarm is an interesting word because what do they call it? Like a swarm of bees, right? Is the first thing. I don't know what to do with that, but
see that's what first came into my mind when all these words pop up in my head. I just try to piece together like a simple story just using all these words in my head first. The first thing I thought of was like there's a swarm of locusts or like some kind of animal insect that comes by, eats up everything in a certain village, and now the villagers have to depart to a new place, and now they're traveling across the vast desert, so they get thirsty. Right. And their only chance to survive is if they learn how to grow plants in the desert and create water in this desert. They can't keep walking or else they're all going to die from exhaustion and dehydration.
Okay. Let's hold on with the so here's the thing. So yeah, I have the same for being in the desert for thirsty, like I had that same thing, and I think that's a good place to put it. If we stick with the swarm for a second, you brought up locusts, but hold on, let's stick with bees for a second here. I just want to remind you of those like giant killer bees that came from like Japan, I believe, right? And they are like this big versus like normal bees. They're like humongous and cause great harm to people. So I'm like, what if there's a swarm of these giant killer bees? These massive bees. And so now it's more like their life's in danger. So it's not necessarily about farming, but these things may try to kill them if they get stung, and they have to depart where they are. We can also the book and the movie Dune, right? It could be this like futuristic world, a little bit dystopian, and they have to like roam the desert and escape from the giant killer bees that has killed it's killed the whole world's way of like farming or whatever, just because they cause so much problems, let's say. And now like it's a desert, like everywhere is a desert, let's say, and they're trying to find salvation or just survive as a part of the human race.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a swarm of anything in that case. Swarm of scarabs, swarm of, if it's a dystopian future, a swarm of,
So like, and that's a thing, because I was thinking at first, I thought birds, and I was like, that's not a thing. That's like a flock, right? It would be called a flock of birds.
flock, swarm. I mean, swarming is really like, I think, more geared towards like attacking or like surrounding something.
I mean, I guess if they go hand in hand.
A swarm of scorpions. Giant scorpions. Man-eating scorpions. Giant man-eating scorpions.
You can... Okay, well... I was going to say you can outrun it, but if they're like huge, because they got to be man-eating, right?
A giant swarm of man-eating lizards.
You ever heard of those? I've never seen those movies where it's like Sharknado.
Of course.
Well, you could have like a bunch of piranhas that somehow get on land, and they're man-eating piranhas.
I've been playing this like farming simulator game recently, actually, and it does take place in a dystopian, apocalyptic desert town. And their mechanic for fishing in the game is there's fish in the sand, actually. And you throw the trap onto the fish. I mean, you throw some bait and it lands on top of the sand, and the fish come out of the sand and try to eat it. And you throw the trap onto it. I thought it was interesting. It was pretty cool. I've never seen like the way they made that idea was pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting idea. So it's like, I mean, they treated the sand as water, and in that sense, and you have a swarm of these fish. Maybe
swarm of sand piranhas.
Sand piranhas, yeah. And maybe it's like a big game of the floor is lava. You have to like jump around or whatever. However, this is getting very much so on the idea of Dune, because then they have like some huge beasts.
They're the giant worms.
Worms, yeah. Oh. In the sand, and like too much vibration or something like that caused them to come up and try to eat you.
Didn't one of them can't you like tame them? Wasn't like one of them riding one of the worms or something?
That's like, a special, or like their clan or whatever. I have to go watch it again, because I only watched it once, and I actually never read the book in school. I know it's a book that a lot of people read. Never read it, so I'm just working with old information.
Sci-fi hasn't really been my thing, but I heard that was a great book, so I like the movie. Yeah. I really like the movie. So
the movie was good. There's supposed to be a second one. So, all right, we have the desert. We can go with a swarm of piranhas. Let's just make some ideas here.
Swarm of piranhas.
In the desert. As far as the word departure, we'll use it as, leaving. So
As an escape.
Escape. So it's like they have to escape. So maybe it starts off where it's something like, they're leaving home because maybe home has been overrun. They have to go find a new place.
Let's say for some reason you could treat the sand as water. What about a swarm of desert pirates? Who like travel on a ship.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, we could have desert pirates, but they can be riding. I don't know if they'd be riding on,
or
if this is the future, they could also be riding on like hovercrafts, so that way not to disturb the sand. Let's say, and then
our characters are desert pirates, and they have to escape the swarm of sand piranhas trying to eat them alive.
Well, that's what I was thinking. But you know what? I think you're on the right path there, adding another layer. So like the sand piranhas is just something that is, and then there's a battle between the different groups of folks. Right, maybe just one group is their own clan, let's say, and then the pirates are, go between clans and either do missions for them, like missions, like this is a video game, but either do like,
if they were hitmen,
maybe there's bounties, you know what I mean? There could be bounties, and they do this
bounty hunter.
Yeah, and then they betray them, and then they have to like, maybe it's one person. Maybe we have our one hero
and he has to fight off swarms of piranhas and desert pirates.
Yeah, and these desert bounty hunters
are after him for some reason.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, they're after him. What did he do?
This one character is about to be put through hell.
He can't even touch the sand.
He's like, oh, I've escaped the bounty hunters. Now there's man-eating piranhas in the sand below me. All right. What did this person do? Let's see.
They had relations with the head clansman's daughter.
I feel like, I wonder if he'd be more. We should look at it where it's a future dystopian from an angle where they're kind of caveman like, and then another angle where it's kind of modern. So, like clansman village, that's the one angle, like a time period or a period in evolution. And then there's can be another one where there's like great cities with technology, and it's just built in the desert.
Like they have, well, it could be still different clans in the sense, like, and maybe clansmen is not like there's the desert folk, and then they are aware of. All right, hold on.
All right, go.
Like, wait, hold on. What if it's like there's a legend around that this other city, this other thing exists where technology is still like being used, and where this protagonist comes from, where he's in, they don't have any of that modern technology, blah blah. Like all that stuff's been taken away.
Dude, you're describing the game I play so much. It's exactly like that, actually.
What game is that?
It's called My Time at Sandrock. But basically, there's like two sects, pretty much.
Yeah.
One is like the people that want to bring technology back, because the history to this world is that it got destroyed by evil robots. And that's what technology destroyed this world, so that's how I had to start over and stuff. And then there's the church, and they want technology to never come back.
Yeah, to never come back.
And
But that could be the case in this. Okay, hold on. That could be the case here. So he pretty much starts going against the religious aspects of this clan, right? They're like, it's blasphemy for this dude, and then he could do something that's, a sin or whatever.
He's a desert Jehovah's Witness, and he gets disowned.
He could do something that's a sin, and then they send, a bounty. If there's a bounty on his head, he escapes, and they send these desert bounty hunters to go get him. So that way he doesn't bring technology back to their large clan, let's say, that where religion holds true, and the religious leaders don't want technology to interrupt or interfere with their messaging.
All right, hold on. All right, let's say the church has gotten a hold of all the resources that lead back to like scrolls, information, data of all old technology leading up to the point where it just destroyed the world.
Mm-hmm.
And he grew up post-destruction, so he doesn't know what that older world looks like.
Sure.
He only reads it in storybooks.
Sure.
He sees all the great stuff that used to be around, flying cars, video games, TVs.
But he happens across this. Like this was a by accident thing.
Yeah.
Like it's not readily available for him and others.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm right.
Then he learns of a group of people, or maybe another city across the desert, that is actively seeking such data and trying to rebuild modern world, modern society. But the church, they don't want that to happen again. Maybe for evil reasons. Maybe they want all the data to like weapons and all that stuff to themselves.
Yeah.
Or maybe they don't want to the same thing to happen again. It depends on how we take it.
So from what I'm picking up, the religious leaders in the church, whatever, like that's their thing. And this other group, let's just say a journey's worth distance away. Does he know that they exist and they contacted him or whatever, or he just knows that they're trying to rebuild old society? Like maybe it's just the legend, like the folklore, like they're there and they're trying to rebuild, and he's like, this is perfect, but the current society that he's living in would never go for it.
Yeah, maybe it already exists. There's like crazy stuff over there, like mechanical robots.
Maybe he, if he survives, not giving anything away, if this person survives, maybe he gets there, and maybe, just maybe, there's they managed to do this.
Yeah, he should. At some point, he just learns of them, gets in contact of them, and he starts leaking some of the data from the church's library to these people so they can build. And then maybe he just loves science so much that he just starts not being on the same side as what his religion is. And then they catch wind of it. Maybe they catch him. And then now he has to escape because his life is in danger. They're going to kill him. So he's leaking all this.
In this idea, and this is kind of like the particulars, the details, is it's not just a folklore legend. Like this place exists. He knows it exists, and he's somehow able to transfer these documents to them to help
carrier pigeon
or falcon to help them rebuild.
Yeah,
and they are. And then he has to decide, I need to get the hell up out of here.
Oh, maybe he's forced to.
Maybe he was forced. Yeah.
They
Do
try
you
to kill
think
him.
maybe he tries to? Because I'm just trying to think like logically. You would think maybe he would want to go anyways, but if we're gonna force him, maybe he made the wrong step. He's a little naive, and he was trying to bring that level of technology and get the other leaders in that society to embrace technology, and and then they start looking at him like, what are you getting on about? And he's like, oh, nothing. I just thought maybe if we had like running water, or something like this, like
If we had a sink,
it would
not
just,
use
yeah,
toilet.
you know what I mean? It could be something like mundane, but like it'll make life better. And they're like, and then they send spies, and the spies report back, and they're like, he's helping to set up old society, and then they go. So then that way is a legitimate like force. Like if he doesn't go, and we have to set up that like death happens to those who.
His mom catches him, and she snitches on him because she's such a brainwashed member of this cult. Let's call it a cult. The non-technology cult. And now they're after him, trying to get his ass. Someone, either he gets spied on or someone snitches on him.
Yeah, either one. Okay,
Someone
so
snitches
all right.
on him.
Let's. So here's the thing. So now we have. It seems that we're definitely doing this desert piranha bounty hunter thing. With the desert sands, it's like the ocean. It's a scary place. Except so basically the way we're going to use the word example is the example of, make an example of, and we're going to see that as they make an example of someone else who's trying to bring on technology.
They make an example of him.
Or if we were setting up for a store, we have to at least show like what the opposition is willing to do in order to to keep status quo. So it's like other people have already died, perhaps, for trying to bring technology in, or maybe doing something that's even more, mundane.
He doesn't know if they've died. He's just never seen them again.
Evan, what's the one thing you do if in old society when you're telling people we don't want you doing this, depending on the severity of it?
Yeah, but depending on how young this person
put
is.
a pike in the middle of the street, and then you impale the person on it, and you leave them there for everyone to know. If you do something stupid, this is where you go.
You've got a violent, non-technology loving, technology-hating cult.
Yes. Yes, you do. Or there's all sorts of old medieval tortures that they would do back in the day. There was one where they put people, they get a brass cow,
maybe,
and they cook them in there. I'm dead serious. You can look it up. There's all sorts of crazy things, but for
boil them alive. What's it called? Maybe when he was growing up, he had an older gentleman dude who was into technology, and he would tell that gentleman friend would tell him stories of all the great technology that used to exist or whatever, and maybe gave him a book that has been restricted as like confidential, do not touch, like the storybook from the old ages about technology in the library. Maybe gave the kid the book.
Here, hold on.
That his friend gets killed.
That person. So if these are supposed to be like a priest or something like this, that person, like the opposition from the church, the person that has this knowledge should be a priest. It's like saying they were granted the knowledge of knowing what the technology was and all this stuff, so that way they can keep it out of the hands of the everyday. And it's like, what, this could have been one of the priests that was on the inside, turned on the church, and was, surviving.
Yeah, he was like, why do we have to ride camels? You can build this car. This is sweet. And then one day, our main character walks out and he sees his priest friend hanging from the rafters in the middle of town.
They caught him. They caught him and hung him.
Well, that's the type of people you planted him in.
It makes sense. All right, I think we have a little.
I got a cool scene in my head that could make sense for contact with
the others,
the people that are trying to rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he goes out at night because the desert has clear skies, not a cloud in the sky. Looks at the stars, looks for shooting stars, but he sees an object in the air, just standing there. And,
is that what happens? He hears a bird could call him.
oh, I was gonna say he sees a drone, but he doesn't know it's a drone. He sees a drone there and is staring at him.
Maybe they make the drones even better. Like, instead of it being like a helicopter, it actually looks like it flies. That whole theory about birds. There are no real birds. They're all robots and drones.
Robot falcon.
A robot falcon. Yep, I'm with you.
This is sitting there staring at him, and he's looking at it, and it just flies away. And he just keeps seeing it, and then maybe it like drops him a message one day or something.
Yeah, and in the sense, it's like the other society, they're trying to gather information and data, and they see that he's somehow different, and they're trying to, establish that connection with him, that outreach to him. But let's give him or her a name.
I don't know why. I feel like he should have an Italian name for some reason.
And I said, I want to put the Italians in the desert. I see. They should come get you, Kevin. You have a sick mind.
Bro, you're the one that wants to have people's heads on pikes.
I mean, at least that makes sense.
Cooking people alive. Let's see. Pio.
You have a Spanish name.
Flavio.
Mateo. And Mateo, the name Mateo.
Dario.
I don't know how to say the last name. Flats. It says the first. Oh, the name Mateo means gift of God. Mateo's trying to bring the gifts of God. The church agree that that's a gift from God, but Mateo knows better, and just like Jesus, they try to come for him.
I'm trying to adjust my camera here. There we go. Just this light. Getting dark.
It's that time of the year,
That's right. Leonzio. All right, Mateo's a good name. I like Mateo.
Yeah. Mateo. Okay. We got some desert bounty hunters. Then we have, we'll call it the Brotherhood. So that way we're not talking about any specific religion.
You can make, there's a cult name generator. There's a cult name generator. Of course there is.
Oh, man, there really is. Cult of the Three Divines.
Ooh, Angels of Clarity. Or the Old Order.
The Old Order. See, I'm reading the one that says the Old Oracles.
That one's too. The chosen harbingers of purity. Band of the Messiah. Angels of Clarity.
The Forsaken Mutants. Children of the Black Hand.
Cult of Fajesi. Sect of Oakali.
Order of the Horrors. They kind of are. The Pure Children. Order of the Pure Children. Children of God.
Creed. Cult of Saitani.
Saitani.
Oracles of the Black Hand.
Yeah, I think I saw that one. You said one of them was the Old Order?
The old Order.
That is interesting.
The Bronze Creed. Followers of the Four Divines. That's interesting.
The Ancient Order.
Ooh, I got a good name for the other people. That makes sense. Sect of Steel.
That's pretty good.
I'll write that one down. Sect of Steel. Since, they're all about modern technology.
Let's see if we can just get... Here goes Cult of the Four Divines. Again. Something with... this one right here says The Chosen Children.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a good name.
The Chosen Children.
The Chosen Children.
Yeah.
It's exactly what they would say in religious overtones. You call everyone your child.
Yeah, and they
Children
believe
of the Lord. But
they
they're
believe
the
it's up
chosen
to them.
But they're the chosen children of the Lord, is what they would say.
If we were to do this right, we would make like some leader that they have and just name it after
After the leader.
after him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chosen children is good because they're chosen to prevent the next apocalypse.
That's right.
The world's already been destroyed by modern technology. Now they're trying to prevent.
This is not bad. I'm also thinking, they would have a leader, wouldn't they? Well, for our purposes, we'll just call them the leader. Leader of the chosen children.
Archlord David.
No way. that name would have to go to you. All right. So,
Archlord Max.
Maxim. Sounds more old timey.
Archlord Maxim. That's not bad.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
Archlord Maxim.
His wife Mia.
Yep. Hey, why not?
Archlord Maxim and Priestess Mia.
A priestess. No. All right. Archlord Maxim. All right. And then who's our good priest? Was with the chosen children.
Who was undercover.
Yeah.
The Sect of Steel.
He wasn't even.
Oh, he was just interested in technology.
Yeah, and he was one of the priests under Archlord Maxim, but then he got
the person that gets hung.
The person that gets hung.
All right.
What's that priest? We'll call him. We'll call them like brother so and so.
Elijah. Marlin. Geralt. Marion. Those are some
names.
Interesting names. Isaac.
Brother Isaac.
Isaac.
Isaac is straight biblical.
Would make sense in this context.
All right, Brother Isaac.
Brother Isaac.
Sect of Steel is the
people trying to rebuild.
Yeah. For rebuilding. World in tech. All right. So we have our desert bounty hunters. We don't have to give them names. We have Mateo. The Chosen Children is the whole group, the whole clan, with their leader of the Chosen Children is Archlord Maxim. Good brother Isaac opened Mateo's eyes and soon is hung. And the sect of steel is the other peoples rebuilding the world in tech.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, yeah, we got ourselves a pretty good. So we have Chance. He's going to take a chance. Going to make an example of brother Isaac. They're in the desert, so when he's on the run, he's going to get thirsty. And swarm of desert piranhas are going to try to come after him
while he's running away from the bounty hunters.
Yeah. Or no, when he gets away from them, he thinks he's safe. And just like he comes across a school of fish, he doesn't know whether they're good or bad. Then as they get closer, he realizes the piranhas and they're coming for him.
Whatever happens after that scene, one of the bounty hunters has to meet his demise.
He gets eaten. All right. Cool. Let's start this crazy story.
I already got a good beginning. Hold on.
All right. Tell it to me.
It's going to start off with Brother Isaac telling him tales that he's read from the storybooks in the restricted area in the library.
Wait. I just want to throw this other idea out there as well. Brother Isaac, so keeping the same thing, maybe he was the one sending all the information to the sect of steel for many years, which is why they're able to advance the way they were.
Yeah.
And then he gets killed, and then,
what if
he
the leader,
the mantle of it?
What the leader of the sect of steel is a excommunicated member of the Chosen Children. And that's how brother Isaac knows him.
Yeah.
They've just been sending info back and forth.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense to me.
Hold on. So Mateo is going to end up picking up where he left off. And the leader was from this clan and escaped long ago. Isaac and him or her were friends. All right. Nice. Okay. So Isaac, I'm getting, they're around the fire. Brother Isaac is telling tales. Is he telling him tales, or he's telling him tales of the old times?
He's learned from these books.
Times.
Yeah, before the destruction.
Yeah.
We should give that event a name. Before the
before times. Before destruction. Okay. You want to give that event a name? The extinction event, pretty much.
The
revelations, as everything was taken away.
There's definitely a event name generator.
Maybe they could just call it year one.
Ooh.
Because everything, all that stuff, let's just say, is wiped, and now it's like everything beginning year one.
Let's see.
Potential title, by the way.
Year one.
Are you looking at generators for extinction events?
I'm looking at the synonyms for restart.
Oh, okay.
The renewal. Before the renewal.
can incorporate both of them, right? So they have the before times known as the Great Renewal. Renewal. This began year one for our people. This could be the dialogue that Brother Isaac is having,
Mm-hmm.
more or less. Brother Isaac tells Mateo that there's another land far, far away that is rebuilding from the past. Mateo is confused because he knows that to be forbidden.
Yep. Yep.
That's when Brother Isaac tells Mateo that, pretty much, he has to tell him something like, the future relies on gaining back the technology we lost or something like that,
I think whatever you're creating right now is great after. Because I wrote something where the section you're creating right now, it would work perfectly for after. Hold on.
All right.
There is a land far away on the other side of the desert where green pastures. It is storming out. What did you do, Dave?
Nice and calm over here.
All right, so I feel I'm writing a novel now. So the beginning part I have is like, he starts off, he's like, the world used to be such an amazing place. Carriages with engines called cars, boxes that give you whatever food you want when you tell it to, birds that carry you across the vast oceans, green pastures everywhere. Food was plentiful. Drinking water was created by machines from thin air. And then Mateo says, Brother Isaac, what happened to all this great technology? Well, Mateo, technology can be used for good and bad. Human nature, greed, and lust for power drove man to use it for destruction. And that's what caused the renewal, the great renewal. The legend has it, there's a land far away across the other side of the desert where there are green pastures and machinery are a normal part of their everyday life.
I feel like the only thing I would say, so like the whole thing where I think the only thing I would say is Brother Isaac, he doesn't have to guess about it. He knows it exists.
Yeah, he's just telling it like.
Yeah. All right, so we
telling it like
we
a
have
tall
to
tale.
make sure that we move, but this is a pretty good story. I feel like we already start working through details because it's
Oh yeah, we got the beginning down. You got to get to the.
we have to really start moving here. So we have 45 minutes, so we're okay. But so we have this fire sequence and all of this that you just said. Is said. Okay, so now we have to get to the next thing. Pretty much the next big milestone part is the death of Brother Isaac.
I feel like Brother Isaac should steal a book from the library, like a small one, and give it to Mateo.
So a few things need to happen. Mateo is given, we'll get short now. Mateo is given a book as a gift from Brother Isaac.
It's called Engineering, Volume 1. It's called Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Oh, witchcraft. That's what they end up calling that.
It's called Star Wars.
So Mateo's given this book from Brother Isaac, All right. He cherishes this book. I mean, this is, he treats this book better than himself, let's say. All right. But then his mother finds the book. She's shocked at such blasphemy.
Yep.
She contacts or goes to whatever
Archlord Maxim.
Lord Maxim.
Yep.
For guidance.
He snitches.
The Archlord. The Archlord tells her, "Worry not,
My child.
my child. It's good. You've brought this here. I will fix this.
I will remedy this situation."
Okay. The Archlord calls for his guards or police force, whatever. His
I think that should all be skipped. And the next day, Mateo gets woken up by his mom. Say they have a town meeting to go to.
No, we can still do that. Hold on. Don't forget. It's not necessarily about what Mateo's seeing, right? So Archer calls for his guards, the lawmen, and tells them to apprehend him pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Brother,
they go to his chambers.
Apprehend Brother Isaac. He needs to speak with him.
They go to his chambers and throw him into the dungeon.
Well, no. So that's all we get from that. Like, let's just imagine it was like a conversation. He's like, "Season, we must speak at once," And so you're left with the idea of like, all right, you're going to talk to him. Now, obviously, we're going to go to the scene that you just brought up. So that's the last thing like the audience would see or read, right? Then you have, Mateo gets awoken by his mother.
They have a town meeting to go to.
Yeah.
It's actually the town witnessing the hanging of Brother Isaac.
Impaling. Tells them they have a town, meeting to attend. Get dressed quickly.
Mateo's horrified.
He doesn't know yet. Mateo is in good spirits. They get to the center of town, and to his amazement, he doesn't know what's happening yet. He sees a large, what is it, a pike?
Yeah, a large pike.
A large pike.
With his old friend's face.
It hasn't happened yet. Hold on. We're gonna make him watch this, Kevin. We're gonna tattoo this on his brain. A large pike. Then someone from the clergy, let's say, comes out and reads out the condemnation.
No, our Archlord Maxim has to deliver said speech.
Okay. Then the Archlord comes out and reads,
"My children, we have worked very hard to secure our peaceful way of life."
So he reads out this long speech, or he begins reading. As he's reading, or not even reading, as he's saying his speech, right?
Mm-hmm.
Someone is wheeled out, covered with a black cloth.
That's right.
The Archlord gets to the end of his speech and tells them, to remove the cloth so everyone can spit on him.
Poor brother Isaac.
But Brother Isaac is like I said, we're making an example out of Brother Isaac. The townspeople make an example and spit and throw
Stones,
rotted food,
tomatoes.
at him. That made me feel a little sick. Oh, that actually made me feel sick just thinking about it. All right, let me get over my queasiness. Townspeople make examples and spit and throw rotten food at him. Then the Archlord tells we call those people, man. In olden days, they would let
Executioners.
the executioner to position the body above the pike. I'm having too much fun with this scene. Above the pike. At the Archlord's word, they drop the body. It can only be done for HBO. I think they're the only ones that allow anything to be made. And the Archlord's word, they drop the body onto the pike. Mateo shrieks in horror as his mother tells him to watch.
Mateo should make eye contact with Brother Isaac, and Brother Isaac just nods to him or something. They just have a moment before the pike is just dropped.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
They spot each other in the crowd.
Okay, hold on. The Archlord looks directly into Mateo's soul. There you go. And then, at the Archlord's word, they drop the body onto the pike. He shrieks in horror. Mom tells him to watch. It's for his bet. It's for the best. It's for the best.
This mom is evil.
To a certain extent, she's just trying to help her baby not end up like poor Brother Isaac on the pike.
Mateo tries to cover his eyes,
All right.
but his mom says, Mateo.
So now we have this whole scene. Probably way too much time describing the death of Brother Isaac, but so be it. So we have this scene. Okay, now, okay. So now there needs to be. So what's the next couple things that need to happen? One,
I think years should go by, and Mateo
he grows up.
he becomes someone that is kind of in the same position as Brother Isaac when he got executed. So now he has access to the libraries, and he can.
Yeah, he becomes a brother.
Yes, brother.
In the
What did you call them?
The chosen children.
Yes, he becomes a brother, a head brother.
Oh, God. Head brother in the chosen children. He, at this point, so what does he do? Does he find the old stories? At this point, he should know those stories.
Let's just say he forgets about him because he's been a good old boy. Right?
Okay, he's been a good old boy.
He brainwashes himself, right? And then when he gets access to the library, he stumbles upon.
Let's make it a monumental day, like on his 18th birthday or whatever. He's given access to
the forbidden library.
Forbidden files, yes, the forbidden, the forbidden books.
Let's just say one of the jobs is the brothers. They have to patrol late at night the library to make sure no one sneaks in to steal the books.
That's right. All right. It asks for forbidden books. Mateo walks into the library.
On his patrol shift and stumbles.
Yeah.
He sees out of the corner of his eye Engineering Volume 1.
Yeah, that's right. And sees the scheme given to him by his good friend, Brother Isaac. Mateo rushes over to the book and begins to read it.
He becomes enamored.
That's right.
He starts taking over people's shifts just so he can
That's right.
read.
That's right. He starts reading it every time he's on the shift. All right. So now we got this thing. Every time he's on the shift, we accept the idea that he becomes enamored by this and he's soaking up this information. One day, as he's hidden away reading a tech book, a large falcon. He doesn't know what it is. He doesn't know it's a robot yet, but he just knows it's a large falcon.
With a robot eye.
A large falcon flies overhead. A large falcon flies overhead. To his amazement, it has a robotic eye. We'll say it flies overhead and lands near him. Now, how is he able to communicate here?
I think the falcon should be like a carrier pigeon. It just lands there, and then one day maybe he's able to approach it and just talk to it.
We're going to make one day now just for the sake of keeping this going. But
so he approaches said falcon.
Yeah.
He said, "What are you?" He tries to touch it. The falcon flies on a higher branch. And then the falcon just flies away and then comes back another day. Again, Mateo approaches said falcon, and the falcon drops a note. Has a note or like a little canister in its mouth that would hold the note, and he drops it. Makes a caw, and then it flies away.
Okay, we can have falcon has a note with it, and it reads.
It reads, "Brother Mateo,
Ooh.
If you are seeing this right now, my name is Caleb.
Ooh.
I am the leader of the Sect of Steel and a dear friend of Brother Isaac. Brother Isaac has told me much about you. So I would hope, or I'm giving you the option, to continue the mission that Brother Isaac started."
Yeah, there you go.
Mateo is maybe he asked for a certain blueprint. He's like, if you wish to finish what Brother Isaac started, please give us the blueprint
maybe
to
schematics to something. Maybe like the flying vehicles that they have.
Give us the thematics to this AK-47. No, the schematics to
something.
A drill or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some kind of tool.
Just something.
Machinery.
So Mateo goes off and brings what is asked for to the Falcon the next day. Now, here's the thing. I feel like in order to help set this off a little bit, the Archlord Maxim would need to be like, we're missing documents. Again, So let's say some time goes by. He's sending more documents. And Brother Maxim's like, we're missing documents. Just like back in the day when Brother Isaac, it reminds him of what was going on back in the day when Brother Isaac, when random documents would disappear.
Or maybe Brother Mateo's fellow brother snitches on him. Catches him. Sees Mateo sneaking out at night out of his chambers.
All right, so day after day sends off more docs. All right. Well, no. So that's the thing. That's what gets them pulled in. It's like, all right, watch this, right? So more docs day after day, right?
Mm-hmm.
On one of those days, his brother. On one of those days, another brother catches him. You know what? Maybe he doesn't even know exactly what he's doing. Catches him talking to a falcon with strange documents in hand. But he can't see them. The brother tells this to the Arch Lord Maxim.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
The Arch Lord calls in Brother Mateo to his office and gives him an elaborate story about the past.
That's right.
Back when Brother Isaac was around, documents used to go missing then. But when he died, that stopped happening.
And he gives a bit of his family history.
And now,
And then leads to that. He's like, during the Great Renewal, 8 of my uncles, 5 cousins, and 3 of my brothers died.
he could. He definitely would. He tells him, yeah. About the past and why about the past and about the great
Renewal.
And the sins of his dead family members.
Sins of his father.
Then he goes and tells him, goes into the story about how he met Brother Isaac.
We took Brother Isaac in when he had nothing else, when he was just a homeless boy.
That's right.
Roaming the desert.
With desert piranhas nipping at his heels.
Half his ear was already bitten off.
And so you get this story, you get these documents go missing, and he's like, the last time that happened is when he was around. But it stopped. And now it's happening again. So tell me, what have you been giving this falcon?
You wouldn't happen to know anything about missing documents, would you?
That's right. Now, Brother Mateo is on the chopping block.
No, sir. No, sir, Archlord Maxim.
He lies. It says no.
With
the
the straightest poker face.
The Archlord sits next to him.
With his arm around him.
That's right, with his arm around him, and tells him, I have to remind you of
what happens
to Brother Isaac.
Or what happens to anyone who threatens our way of life here.
There you go. Mateo is
no, Archlord.
Frightened.
Mateo's late night poker games with his fellow brothers have given him the skills to put on the best poker face ever.
That's right. He puts on his good face and he's allowed to leave because he doesn't let it go.
Mm-hmm.
He realizes, but
he's in deep
Yeah,
Shit.
he's being followed. They want to make sure, they want to see what he's doing. All right, so now we can either have him make the depart, make the and take a chance and run. At this point, I think originally we were talking about something a little more. They try to come after him.
I think the Falcon should tell him that they're after him. The Falcon sees it, and he drops a message.
The Falcon drops a message letting him know that they're stripping a tree and turning it into a pike.
Well, the Falcon says, Mateo, there are mercenaries after you. Here enclosed.
So here's the thing. He was allowed to leave, and he's being followed. He should have a correspondence with the Falcon, and then they see it. Let's just say, real story is like he doesn't try to have a correspondence without the rest of that stuff, but he has a correspondence saying, they know, blah, blah, blah. Falcon is intercepted. They read it, and then they know that they confirm that, through his own written word, because he was just trying to write that they know I can't help any further. But then they find out through his written word that he was helping. And then we have the sequence of events where, they begin to try to hunt him down, and someone can let him know, like, they're coming for you.
Oh, so before they started to hunt him down, I was going to have it that says, I was thinking the Falcon tells him he must leave, and that
because we need a reason for him to take a chance. The word chance is it's interesting because it means that, like, in another sense, he has to be the one to make that step. Like, they can tell him to leave. I think it's more interesting that he tries to send it, and he's like, I need your help to leave. It gets intercepted, and now he has to, like, without their help and without their knowledge of what's going on, he has to journey out and run.
I wanted the Falcon, before he leaves, to drop him a weapon to help him. Like some kind of small weapon.
This ain't a video game. This man, he's going to have to pick up a weapon on the way out, okay?
No, I feel like they should give him like a taser that he's able to use. Not like a gun or something. Not like a grenade or a gun or something, like something so he could use to defend himself, and gives them proof that.
Well, they can have multiple Falcons. So let's say this. Mateo tries to send a message via the Falcon. Falcon is intercepted by the Brotherhood at this point. Those that were watching him. Because then we can. All right, so it's intercepted. The message is out. They are now hunting him. All right.
They drop him a taser just to prove that.
It was a sect of steel. They send him another Falcon. There's Falcon drone, so whatever, they have multiple. They send him another Falcon. It wasn't so much that the Falcon was found that's the issue for him, at least. It was the message that he wrote, which confirms. And then so they send him another Falcon, and this one drops him a taser. A taser or something, or a weapon of some sort.
Either a weapon, or we can start making stuff up, or a bottle that somehow can make water out of like the cold air in the desert at night.
So, like a useful item? That's pretty
a useful
good
item
too. Yeah, let's do that. Actually, I like that more than a weapon. Drops him.
A bazooka
that can make water. No, it can't be that because he has to be thirsty.
That's true.
If he can make water all willy-nilly, So they send him.
They drop him
a compass.
Maybe drop him schematics to make said item with stuff.
Okay, yeah. That makes more sense. For now, to make a bottle that can have water. Make water. Out in the desert. All right, cool. All right.
It's on a napkin. Here's what you need to build this.
So yeah, 16 minutes. So we're gonna have to do some gapping. The Brotherhood comes searching for him. A friend alerts him that they are coming now. All right? They're coming now. Mateo slips out the back and masks himself in a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
They are patrolling and searching the street. All right, I'm gonna jump. So, the 15 sequence of his escape. Okay, because I'm doing too much detail and like this is an interesting story. It could go into very much details, but the sequence of his escape. He escapes and is now in the desert. All right,
he's into the desert. Yep.
He falls asleep under the night sky. Here we go. Here. I'm gonna use the word. He takes. I got this. He takes his chances and escapes, and is now in the desert. So another word. So depart is what he's doing. We still have to use swarm and thirsty. I'm gonna use swarm right now. Watch. He falls asleep under the night sky. Exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The next morning, he wakes up. There's some rustling below him, or below the rocks. It could be something like, I almost think like it's something like the sand, but doesn't mean the piranhas are in every bit of the sand. So, you just don't know. So like rustling below his feet, let's say. And that's very real for piranhas because they don't just instantly attack. They kind of swarm, and then one, they're kind of shy, and one will take a nibble, and then the other one didn't. And you ever watch like how they eat? It's very interesting, right?
He feels like the vibration of them swarming.
Yeah, so he feels the rustling and below his feet. He jolts up and is shocked to find a swarm of piranhas.
Desert piranhas.
Oh, you're right. Desert piranhas coming in for a bite.
They've eaten all his food. They've eaten all his food.
He hauls ass up a large rock.
He must find high ground.
They end up swimming away. 12 minutes. I'm gonna bridge some gaps here. They end up swimming away. As he watches them pass the horizon.
No, I got it.
He sees
sequence.
Yeah, he sees a large group of men riding toward.
They should already see him. They should be riding some kind of woolly mammoth, some kind of animal.
Yeah, they're coming for him.
Like he sees an arrow whiz past his face.
Exactly. No, we're on the same page here. Like he watches them go, and then he watches them come, and it's not a question mark for them. They're coming for his blood. They know. They're like, oh, he's right there. Let's go get him.
An arrow whizzes past his face and grazes a couple hairs.
He takes off running into the desert sun. All right, we have 11 minutes. We have to get him. So, okay, pretty much most of the story will take place in this like cat and mouse game that for him to escape, and at the very end, he will be at the sect of Steel, and then he's safe, and the movie or the story or the book or whatever,
They save him.
they
Caleb
save him,
and
and the end at that point, right?
yep.
So, all right, I'm gonna say more desert. I'm gonna say desert sequence real quick.
Trying to figure out an epic way for one of these bounty hunters to get eaten.
That's right. Yeah. Do that. Desert sequence. Mateo is on the cusp of death. And all of a sudden, a whisper is heard. He turns his head and finds the sack of steel coming toward these they currently have now. It amazes him. All right. I'm setting this up so where it could be a sequel. All right. Boom. All right. I got the ending. I got everything from once the sect of steel finds him in the desert. They rescue him. This version, they rescue him. I mean, maybe in a different version, if we were to make this, we have more time, it'd be a better sequence. But in this version of events, he's going to be damn near about to die, and they come and save him. We still have the desert sequence, and I know that you are working on a way to get one of these folks eaten up. Mm-hmm. And we also have to use the word thirsty. Okay. Hold on.
We can use that before one of these folks get eaten up. Let's say he's
yeah, it could be something like after or before, or whatever. He turns around, like he's thirsty. Yeah, as he's wandering. And I think he also has that schematic for that. So
yeah,
schematic. All right, this is pretty good. All right. So tell me the sequence you're putting in so that way, because I got the ending and I just keep
all right.
Make it work. We still have 7 minutes,
so the scene I wrote out was he's on they're in an intense chase, and there's one particular mercenary that's on his tail, and somehow he has to ascend some rocks, so he starts rock climbing again.
Okay.
And when he gets to the top, he gets grabbed by his foot, or maybe they have a struggle, and now he's hanging off a cliff, and there's the swarm of piranhas chomping at the bit at the bottom, and there's a mercenary hanging on his foot, and Mateo takes his water bottle that he built and hits a dude on the head. The guy's mask flies off, and revealing that it's his fellow brother from the Chosen Children who snitched on him, or his friend or something.
Okay, yeah. No, but yeah, someone that snitched on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the guy's like, he's like, please don't let me go or something. He starts
die or whatever.
Starts begging for his life.
Yeah.
And then Mateo hits him in the head, or it just hits his hand. He falls down into the swarm of piranhas, and you see that guy's body just sink into the sand as he's getting munched on.
That's perfect. And it works because I put in a quick scene where he escapes them the first time, right? He runs off in the desert, escapes them. He's wandering the desert. He gets thirsty, takes up the schematic, builds the bottle, quenches his thirst. Then I put in here, in 5 minutes, I put in here desert sequence, and I just put your name next to it. So once we read it and you stop halfway, I'll continue, but then I'm going to come back to you for a quick second so you can tell what you just told.
Yeah.
We still need to bridge. All right, so that guy dies. Something, the bottle falls into the ground. Like the bottle's gone. Because I have him where he's on the cusp of death, and then he gets found, right? So the bottle,
as soon as he hits the dude, the guy and the bottle goes flying off the cliff.
Yeah, both of now he's really in the bad way. right. So you say that. Don't forget to say that part. Right. So the bottle goes in there, and then that whole sequence happens. Okay. So he survives, but now he's in the worst position. And then
Reversing the hot desert sun,
yeah,
and he's thirsty.
and then he thinks he's gonna die. Wait, oh, all right, here it is. He begins to pray. There's a whole spirituality aspect that can happen to
If we had more time,
the Lord.
if we had more time, we should definitely make him hallucinate.
That's exactly what I was thinking, but I'm just gonna make it like an action. So he begins to pray to the Lord and asks him, what his purpose is supposed to be. And the reason why I say that is it ties into the ending. I won't tell you the ending.
All right.
I'll tell you the ending. It's supposed to be no one responds again. The universe seemingly not listening. Okay. All right. So good. We actually did it. And so with time to spare, with 3 minutes to spare.
How do you want to read this out? I'll start beginning. You do the execution scene because you.
Yeah.
And then
we'll do some back and forth for sure.
Then I'll do when he meets the Falcon until the point where he gets caught, and then you describe him leaving
again, and then I'll bring us all the way to the point where
he's got this mercenary on him.
Yeah, well, past the piranhas getting him, he's thirsty. And then I probably have it marked, and then I'll go to you, and then you'll leave me where he's that person died and all his stuff, and then I'll take it.
Bloodied, battered, and thirsty.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. 2 minutes to spare, everyone. I thought we were about to have some real issues. This is the most.
We spent a lot of time in the beginning.
Yeah, we did.
We were doing a lot of details in the beginning.
We were adding a bunch of details in the beginning. Definitely killed some time where, if we were making this, if we had more time or editing it, we had to spend some time on that middle section there out in the wilderness of the desert, but so be it.
But all in all, I think this is a fantastic story.
It is. I'm over here like maybe we should we need to make this one. It could be a real proper drama, very serious thing. Be very good.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the clock. Officially, 1 minute and 40 seconds to go. So we were fast this time. Usually we come just right up on it.
Yeah, we're usually down to the wire,
down to the seconds. So this is pretty good, especially when it didn't look like we were going to be on time for this one for sure.
We always make it. We always make it happen.
That's right. So far.
So far.
So, do we want to do the titling?
At the end.
You want to read it first? Okay.
At the end, yeah.
Okay.
So,
go ahead.
To just recap, the words that we were given were chance, example, thirsty, swarm, and departure. And now our story begins in a period called the Great Renewal. This is past an apocalyptic point in human time where modern technology went to its peak and eventually just destroyed itself. Now everyone is starting from square one. And this is marked in the calendar for this next generation of people as year one and post the Great Renewal. So the story starts off, our main character, Mateo, is sitting around the fire with his old friend, Brother Isaac. Brother Isaac is a brother in the Chosen Children, and he has access to the Forbidden Library. So he likes to bring tales of old technology and the old ways to Matteo. So he says, Matteo, the world used to be such an amazing place. They had carriages with engines called cars. They had boxes that would give you food when you punch in buttons. And they had birds that would carry hundreds of people across seas. There was greenery everywhere. Food was plentiful, and drinking water was created out of thin air from machines. Matteo is fascinated by these stories, so he says, Brother Isaac, what happened to all this great technology? Well, Matteo, technology can be used for both good and bad. The greed of man, human nature, and lust for power drove man to use this technology for destruction. And that's when the Great Renewal happened. But legend has it that across the desert sands, there's a land and people living and trying to renew and rebuild the old technology of the olden ways. There's green pastures there already, and it is said that they use machinery as part of their everyday life. Matteo is amazed, and the night ends by Brother Isaac surprising Matteo, handing him a book, a small book from the Forbidden Library. And Brother Isaac says, whatever you do, you must keep this book away from your friends and family, but it is yours to keep, and it'll be our little secret. So later that night, or a few days later, Matteo's mom is cleaning his room, and she stumbles across said book. She's scared once she finds it, because she knows exactly what it is. So immediately, she goes straight to Archlord Maxim. Archlord Maxim tells Matteo's mother, worry not, child. We will remedy this situation. So that night, he has his guards go into Brother Isaac's chambers, and they take him. The next day, Matteo's woken up by his mother, saying that they have a emergency town meeting to attend. Matteo's in good spirits. He has no idea what's happening. So they walk towards the center of town. There's a crowd of people there already. And Archlord Maxim is on the podium. He's delivering a speech, something along the lines of, children of the chosen, we've worked hard to secure this way of life. We know of what happened in the olden times before the Great Renewal, how technology has destroyed humankind. And it is up to us, the chosen children, to make sure humans can flourish once again on Earth. Now, we work very hard to protect and keep away the nature and information of said technology from those who might use it for evil doings. And those who threaten our way of life must be severely punished. And then we see a man being escorted onto the stage by two executioners, and he's got a bag over his head. And Dave, who is this man?
The Archlord Maxim tells the executioner to remove the cloth so everyone can see and make an example out of this man. To the horror, the man is Brother Isaac. Matteo cannot believe his eyes. The townspeople start to make an example by throwing rotten food and spitting on him. As they are finishing, the archbishop raises his hand and tells executioner to position his body just above the pike. The archlord looks directly into Matteo's eyes, down to his soul. With that, the archlord gives the word to drop the body onto the pike. Matteo shrieks in horror. As he's trying to look away, his mother is telling him to watch. Years go by. Mateo gets older. He becomes one of the head brothers in the chosen children. He has forgotten all about the past and those tech books, probably buried away in his memory as a painful memory. But on his 18th birthday, he's given access to the forbidden books. It is his job now to patrol the library of which they're kept. One day, on his shift, as he's patrolling the library, he sees the same book that was given to him by his good friend, Brother Isaac. Mateo rushes over to the book and begins to read it. He starts reading it. Now he starts reading it every time that he's on the shift. One day, as he's out in the back reading the book without a care in the world, a large falcon flies overhead and lands near him. To his amazement, upon further looking, it has robotic eyes. He approaches the falcon and tries to touch it. The falcon bounces and flies away. The next day, Mateo goes out, this time looking for the falcon, and the falcon returns. It has a note with it that reads, "Brother Mateo, my name is Caleb. I am the leader of the sect of Steel. I'm also an old friend of Brother Isaac." The note continues on, but the offer to pick up where Brother Isaac had ended is given to Mateo. Now, Kevin, did you want to jump in from this point?
Yeah, so Mateo accepts this mission. He wants to continue the mission that Brother Isaac started when he was just a younger child. So secretly, when Mateo goes on shifts, he starts to find schematics that the sect of Steel is looking for and give it to them regularly at night when he's not seen during his shift. He starts to take over other people's shifts so he can give out more information. But one night, while he was on his shift, another brother is just coming back from the bathroom and spots Mateo at a tree speaking with said falcon. He's like, "What is Mateo doing speaking to a bird?" And he sees Mateo. He has a parchment with him. He's scrolling it up, putting it into a canister, handing it to the falcon, and the falcon flies off. This alerts the brother. The brother then goes to Archlord Maxim and snitches. And the next day, Archlord Maxim calls Brother Mateo into his chambers. He says, "Brother Mateo, have a seat. Do you realize the importance of the work that we're doing here?" Brother Mateo says, "Yes, of course, Archlord Maxim. You know, before the Great Renewal, lots of my family members were wiped out during the Great War. And that was all due to technology, because technology promotes the evil and sinful nature of man."
That's right.
Isn't that right, Mateo? "Yes, Archlord Maxim." So Archlord Maxim takes a seat next to Mateo, puts his arm around him, and he says, "You know, the last time we had this happen, we lost a very valuable brother of ours, Brother Isaac. You remember that, right, Mateo?" Mateo hesitantly says, "Yes, of course." And Archlord Maxim says, "Before we caught Brother Isaac, we noticed that documents were missing from the Forbidden Library leading up to his capture. And fellow brothers of ours have told us that there have been more leaked documents or missing documents from the library. You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you, Mateo?" Mateo's burning up inside. But with the best poker face, he says, "No, Archlord Maxim, but I will keep an eye out on my patrol." There's a moment of silence. Archlord Maxim says, "Okay, you may go now, Mateo." Now, do you want to jump in?
Yep. As Mateo leaves, he's frightened, scared to death, but he kept on a good poker face while in the presence of the Archlord. Mateo looks behind him and finds that he's being followed. He understands that from now on, life is going to become very difficult for him. The next day, or perhaps a week later, Riven decides to send out a falcon, sending a simple message saying he can no longer help or assist them with sending more documents, trying to wish them the best and sever ties. What he didn't know was that as that falcon left and it seemed to gain height up into the sky, it was shot down with a bow and arrow, and his message was intercepted by the Brotherhood. Those that were watching, well, now they know the truth about Brother Mateo. In this confusion, as the Brotherhood goes to figure out what to do about Brother Mateo, the Sect of Steel sends him another falcon. This time they drop him the schematic. This is the first time that they ever dropped him any information or schematic. And the schematic is to make a bottle of water in the desert. Something that can be very useful for someone surrounded by desert. The Brotherhood comes searching for him. A friend of his alerts him that they're on their way now. Mateo spills out the back of his house and masks himself into the crowd. They're now patrolling and searching the street for him. Eventually, he makes his way to the outer limits of the city and escapes in the middle of the night. He decides he's going to take his chances in the desert. As he gains a good fair distance away from where his home used to be, he looks up to the stars and asks God for forgiveness. He falls asleep underneath the night sky, exhausted at the day's events. The next morning, he wakes up to find something wrestling below his feet. He jolts up and is shocked to find a swarm of desert piranhas coming in for a bite. He hauls ass up a large rock. They end up swimming away as they realize he will not be their lunch or their breakfast. He watches them go, and as they pass the horizon, he sees something else seemingly coming towards him. He squints his eyes to see if he can get a better look. At that exact moment, an arrow whizzes right past his head. He knows who it is. The Brotherhood has come for him. He takes off running into the desert. Mateo is able to escape and is now wandering the desert all alone with the hot sun beating on his back. His thirst begins to build. And then he remembers the schematic of how to make the bottle in the desert. Perhaps with the desert sands to quench his thirst. He makes the said bottle. To his amazement, after a couple tries, it works, and the bottle fills with water, and he's able to quench his thirst. Kevin?
So, with this new bottle, Mateo's amazed. He laughs because he just can't realize that it works. This is science. This is engineering. And this was his future. So Mateo starts trekking across the desert sands, and he's being chased. He doesn't know it yet, but he's getting chased very closely. When he has to ascend up a cliff, to get to the other side, an arrow hits a rock right next to him, and he sees a member of the Brotherhood tailing him, reloading his crossbow. So he's running, struggling up, running in sand, traversing this rock. The brother follows him, tackles Mateo to the ground. They have a struggle. They're rolling and rolling. And now they're hanging off the ledge of this giant cliff. And at the bottom of the cliff is a swarm of desert piranhas hunting and having their meals. Mateo's hanging on to the ledge with two hands, and a member of the Brotherhood's hanging on by his foot. Mateo tries to kick him off with no use. And then he takes his bottle and just swings it back and hits the Brotherhood member on the head. The Brotherhood's member's mask flies off, revealing that it is one of Mateo's brother from the Church of the Chosen Children. Now, this brother is begging Mateo not to let him go. He's begging for his life. Mateo hesitates. He's a religious man, so he doesn't know what to do in this situation. But it's either him or me. So he swings his bottle and hits his brother on the head again. This time letting go of the bottle because he hit the guy so hard on the head. And you see the Brotherhood member fall into the pit of desert piranhas, his body sinking into the sand. You see his hand slowly sink into the sand, along with the bottle. Mateo forces himself up the cliff, saving himself. And now Dave, he has no bottle.
Yes.
And he's bloody, battered.
Yes. Poor Mateo is in a worse state than before. Doesn't have a bottle for water. He's bloodied, bruised, tired. They've been unrelenting in their hunting of this man, and he's been in fear that the desert piranhas would eat him at any moment. Mateo continues to wander the hot desert. As he does this, he prays to the Lord and asks him what was his purpose on this earth, purpose on this land. Of course, no one responds. He screams it again, and again, no one responds, as if the universe not willing to listen. Mateo's on the cusp of death. He makes his peace with the Lord, when all of a sudden he hears a whisper, turns his head, and finds a member of the sect of steel coming towards him. He blacks out. When he awakes, he finds that they have saved his life, and they're currently healing him back to full health. He's able to see all the tech that they were able to build around him, completely different from the life and the lives of those living back for the chosen children. It amazes him. It brings a tear to his eyes. He doesn't know how to feel about this. It's at that point Mateo believes it is his job, it is his duty, it is his purpose to spread tech around the world to save mankind. The end.
There we go. What a story.
What a story indeed. Who knew? I wasn't planning on having this religious overtones this much, but hey, we started off with him in the Brotherhood. I figured prayer had to come back up some way, somehow. But,
when you said he was praying, I just had like a funny revision to my scene. Before he hits him the second time, he's like, "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned," and hits him.
yeah, probably. I think it centers. There's also like another thing that's being brought up for this kind of story of like purpose, just in general, like his purpose he has for life. Kevin, I'm gonna tell you, there's no way AI is gonna beat us on this one. I already know. Like, there's just
Ain't no way.
no way. Like, this story has legs. And it's really good. And
It's one of our better ones.
yeah, I can't help but laugh and like smile as we do it. But you know, if this story was to actually be made, it'd be like the most serious story ever. But it's just so weird, but in a great way. And we use all the words. He takes a chance. They made an example out of his friend. He got very thirsty. Swarm of piranhas were nipping at his heel, and he departed his home. Now,
right.
For the titling,
That's right.
the story. Now,
I liked your idea from before year one.
Yeah.
And then I thought of life after the Great Renewal.
Great Renewal. It can also just be the Great Renewal.
That too. Brother Isaac's dying wish.
Brother Isaac.
I think year one or the Great Renewal are good. Those are pretty good.
Yeah. Let's call it, for now at least. I know that year one is already a film, but it's like a comedy film or whatever.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think it was with Jack Black and like
Was that when he was a caveman or something?
Caveman, something like that. Yeah. But hey, this is kind of the same idea. We can call it year one.
All right.
Hey, you can rename things the same as something else.
That's right. Year one. There you have it, folks. That's year one. So let me
go.
See what this AI comes up with. All right. Can you make a story using the words chance, example, thirsty, swarm, and departure as themes in the story itself? Have it take place in a desert, dystopian, post-apocalyptic city. Have some religious overtones. All right. Let's see what this thing spits out. A swarm of mutated creatures. All right.
Already kind of different, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, they named him Chance. That's interesting.
Right. That's another way to use that word.
Yeah, that's true. Man, AI is coming forward today.
They said,
"Oh, you thought you were
trying to end this losing streak."
Yeah. You thought you had it in the bag. We're coming. Look at this story, though, that is spitting out.
I know, this is longer than usual.
Yeah. It's like, oh no, we who said that we're going to lose today?
They said, we learned since last time. Okay.
All right.
Did they name this?
You saw that, right?
Desert Cities Religious what?
It rechanged.
Departure?
I watched it change it, and I was like, wait, what is that?
They literally named this.
Yeah.
Titled it Desert Cities Religious Departure. All right. Interesting.
Name, but okay.
Interesting.
Now
in the desert,
fight with this thing for the titles too.
I know. I know. Hold on. Clear my throat. In the desert, the city was a desolate wasteland. The sun beat down mercilessly on sand-covered streets, and the only sign of life was a swarm of mutated creatures that roamed the streets at night. The citizens of the city had long ago abandoned all hope of rescue or salvation, but they clung to their faith in a higher power. Chance was a young man who had grown up in the city. He had never known anything different, but he had always dreamed of leaving. He heard stories of other places where the sun wasn't so hot and the creatures weren't so terrifying. He knew that it was unlikely that he would ever be able to leave, but he held on to his dreams nonetheless. One day, he was wandering through the streets, thirsty and desperate for water. He stumbled upon a strange example of a building. It was unlike anything he had ever seen before. It was tall and imposing, with intricate carvings and symbols that seemed to be a message of some kind. Chance couldn't understand the message, but he felt compelled to investigate further. As he approached the building, he heard a strange noise. It sounded like a swarm of insects. It was unlike anything he had ever heard before. He cautiously entered the building, and as he did, he felt a sense of peace and calm wash over him. The noise was coming from a group of people who were gathered in a large room at the back of the building. They were dressed in strange robes and were chanting in unison. Chance was mesmerized by the scene, and he soon realized that this was a religious gathering. He had never heard of such a thing before, and he was fascinated by the devotion and faith of these people. As he watched, he felt a sudden urge to join them, to be part of this community, and to leave the desert city behind. Without hesitation, he stepped forward and joined the group in their chanting. As he did, he felt a sense of liberation and freedom. He knew that this was his chance to escape the desert and to start a new life. He felt a thirst for knowledge and a desire to understand the message that the building held. The group welcomed him with open arms. They told him that they were preparing for a departure. They were leaving the city and heading to a new land where they would be able to live in peace and safety. Chance was overjoyed and knew that this was the opportunity he had been waiting for. With a sense of purpose and newfound faith, Chance joined the group as they set out on their journey, leaving the desert and the dystopian post-apocalyptic city behind. He knew that this was the beginning of a new chapter in his life, and he was ready for whatever lay ahead. That wasn't bad. That was a lot better than previous stories. That sounded like a prequel to our story.
Yeah.
The prequel to the Chosen Children. This is the religious group.
Right. It sounds like how his parents got into the group.
Yeah.
You know, that's it's like the origin story of how they were. It's like, you know what? It's the origin story for Brother Isaac.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's the origin story for Brother Isaac.
That is the origin story of Brother Isaac. He escaped the swarm of mutated creatures.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's
Interesting.
Brother Isaac. That makes it really hard because then it's like technically we can actually pull that whole story and put it in our story for Brother Isaac's story. And so do we still give it a rating? It still needs some dressing up and some fixing, but so does our story too. But
if we were to
on its own
look at each of these stories in a vacuum, I still think our story is way superior.
Yeah.
Just story-wise in general. Mutated creatures was interesting. But if we were... This is interesting now. If we were playing on the same team, this would be a great addition to our story. To be the background of Brother Isaac.
I think...
And the children of the chosen children.
I think...
Or is it the origin story of Archlord Maxim?
Could be. I think. By the way, that could be another title: The Chosen Children.
It could,
but we'll still stick with your one for now. I agree with you. I think we still won, and I think this is the origin story for one of these guys, either Archlord Maxim or Brother Isaac. It's a good story. It's probably the best story AI has generated thus far.
So far, yeah.
And the series is getting smarter.
we are seeing it getting smarter. Maybe it's the words and topics we just happen to get this week.
Yeah.
But stories that have been generated in previous episodes were like super vanilla, didn't really have much depth to it.
Yeah.
Compared to this one, where they had a bunch of like contextual things that were interesting.
And not to mention those stories, and because of all that, those stories were way shorter. So it's like just lacking on overall detail that made it interesting.
Right.
It's getting longer now. It's learning.
It's learning.
But yeah, we'll just have to leave it on. We'll still take the W and say that story is the precursor to one of these guys. And yeah.
You heard it there, folks. 7-0. That was the story of year one about Mateo and his quest to bring back the modern world.
Yeah.
So, thank you for watching. Join us next week as we create another story from a new set of words. And, we'll talk next week.
See you guys.